Heyo, and welcome to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. We got a fully loaded show this evening of five sad brothers after the Patriots lose Super Bowl 60 to the Seattle Seahawks. Just a tough game, a tough pill to swallow. Wasn't anything that we were looking for in that game. But I'll start on a positive note. We'll get into all the negatives. I have to shout out all the listeners and folks that have interacted with us over the past couple weeks. It has undoubtedly been some of our most successful social media time periods, and we appreciate all the interaction, and our numbers were just in another stratosphere. So really, really appreciate it. To everyone that's been liking, subscribing, rate, review. If you haven't done that already, please do it. We appreciate it. It helps us a lot. And shout out to all the listeners. We really never talk about that sort of stuff, but it does go a long way. And just shout out to everybody who's been involved with the podcast and leading up to this week. But it was just a shitty fucking game, boys. No other way to put it. It was tough. Hey, Matt, take it away on a non-victory Monday, a sad Monday.
Yeah, it's these were very, very hard to come by this year, unfortunately. But when you wanted a win, the team couldn't come through. The Pats completely laid an egg in honestly all phases of the game except defense. The defense really showed out, especially Christian Gonzalez. I think that was the first note here on our little notepad that we have here, that he played great. And he was the kind of one of the main reasons that you were in the game, at least until probably late third quarter, was because of Christian Gonzalez and the defense and the game plan that they put together on that side of the ball. But on the other side of the ball, it was just they couldn't get anything going. The offensive line was giving Drake May about 3 to 4 seconds, if that. And then when Drake did have the time to throw, he was just completely off on all of his throws. There was maybe one or two throws throughout the entire night where you were like, wow, he threw it right into that window. That's very unlike Drake May and very unlike the Patriots. So he kind of came back down to earth during the playoff run. And I think the big reason is the offensive line play, which I think you probably would all agree with too, is that we have to figure that out. They're probably going to have to draft or sign a left tackle and then kick Campbell over to guard and then probably kick Wilson over to center. But who knows? I mean, it's kind of crazy to be talking about that, 24 hours after what could have been a great game. And for me, it's just the fact that they no-showed was really, really disappointing. I mean, every other Super Bowl that I've seen for the Patriots, it's been a competitive game going into the fourth quarter, and you felt like they could have won the game. And I don't think at any point last night when we were texting in our text chain that we felt that they really could have truly won that game. I mean, granted, it was, 12-0 and 15-0, but they just really couldn't get any momentum going. So for me, that was the worst part of the game. And I think that as great as Christian Gonzalez played, I do think the all pros elite players, they make that pick on the 1 yard line where he tipped that ball where I think it was 6-0. It was late into the second quarter. And I think if he makes that interception and you go into the half down 6-0 instead of 9-0, I really think that that's a huge momentum play. And I think that the all pros and the true elite cornerbacks make that play. And I texted our chat. I said he had to have that. And I truly think that was where the game kind of just completely flipped.
I have to agree. I think the momentum came kind of late. I think I texted it in the group chat. It's like he turned it on in like the fourth quarter, like when there was like 3-4 minutes to go is when he started actually like turning it on and just like pretty much not giving a fuck and just kind of letting it fly. And that's when we were having the most success. And it was like, why couldn't we have this kind of success in the first, second, and third? Why couldn't we be playing this exact way, the same way that we've been playing? I don't know, was the spotlight too big for the kid? I'm not trying to give him excuses, but again, hats off and flowers to the front seven of Seattle. They're a formidable fucking foe, and if anything, it's a great learning experience for this group moving forward. But yeah, it was just a complete shit show as far as not being able to get any offense moving at all whatsoever. We talked about it pre-show where looked like they were trying to kind of stick to the Denver game plan, which really, I mean, you can't do that. You look at the games that Seattle has played, and they, the one game that they played 3 games in the postseason. The one game that they exploded as far as offensive goes was the game against LA. So in order to keep up with them, we had to put points up on the board, and that's not something that we did until 4 minutes into the fourth quarter. So, I mean, 4 minutes left with the fourth quarter. So it's, a little too late at that point. But yeah, I mean, for me, like you guys said, it's the poor offensive line play. Obviously, someone, not us, but the front office needs to do something, and they will in the offseason. This is going to be a very, very attractive team to a lot of people now. And what should have been a year of building an identity brought us to the Super Bowl, which is, I think, just fucking amazing. So look for a lot of players to want to come here. In my eyes, I'll hand the baton off to someone else.
Gabe, Eric.
Gabe, take it away.
All right, yeah. It's definitely still some raw emotions. It's been less than 24 hours of kind of going over the game in my head. It was clearly just a terrible game. I really don't know what Josh McDaniels' plan was going into that game. It looked like there was no plan. Drake May, I just feel like they, like Sam said, they kind of went with the Denver approach again, and we're just happy with going, if they didn't get the third down, they were happy flipping the field and having Seattle try to work for it. We were hoping that Sam Darnold would see ghosts, and it was really Drake May that was seeing ghosts the whole night. He was pressured all game, and he just couldn't make it happen. And it's just really disappointing. I said the past couple of weeks they need to stop Kenneth Walker to have any chance in this game, and they did not stop Kenneth Walker. I mean, they did to an extent. Whenever he got outside, he would get chunk yards, and they really couldn't stop that, and it kept the momentum going for the Seattle offense. And he ended up taking the Super Bowl MVP. So, if you're not going to stop the run, then you're kind of toast, and that's what this defense has prided themselves on. And I mean, look, the defense was incredible, and we have a bright future ahead of us. But at the moment, there's still a stake in my heart. It will be pulled out eventually, but it's just, you got to look at the positive side of things as well, and this team has a bright future moving forward. And this was a lot of players' first time ever in the playoffs. I mean, it's their first time in the league. A ton of rookies on this team, so this is a good experience. Even though they lost, it's a good experience for the young guys. Hopefully there is a next time when they make the Super Bowl and they're more prepared for it.
Absolutely. Biggie, go.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to the fact that the Patriots did not have even close to the level of talent that Seattle did. And listen, I think a lot of people are looking at this team saying they should have never made the Super Bowl to begin with. Whether this is right or wrong, people are going to say in the AFC Championship, they didn't face off against the starting quarterback for that team who was there all year. In the divisional round against Houston, they didn't face off against the number one wide receiver on the Texans in Nico Collins. And then in the divisional round, they didn't face off against an offensive line that was missing 2 tackles that were starting earlier in the year. So I do think, did they get lucky along the way? Absolutely. Will this make them better in the long run? I hope so. And I think they have the right coach at the helm with Mike Vrabel to take this loss and to use this as fuel for the fire. And Drake May is certainly going to take his lumps, and it's certainly not all about him. I think, we touched on the offensive line. I think they deserve more of a share of the blame, honestly, than Drake at this point. But Drake is going to do the thing, being the starting quarterback, and take the hits. What I would say to Drake May, the listener of the pod, Drake May, is remember what the feeling felt like last night after that game. Know that you never want that feeling to happen ever again. Use that to fuel you, not just next year, but for the rest of your career. And you will get back there. I have all the faith in the world that you have the talent to get back there.
I think that Drake certainly has the ability to get this team back here. I think if you had told us at the beginning of the season that the Patriots were going to go to the Super Bowl and ultimately lose in the Super Bowl, that we all would have said, absolutely sign me up for that ride. It was an incredible season from that standpoint, especially given what the last 2 years were. And so from that season, looking at it from that big picture standpoint, obviously was an incredibly successful season. But when you take the game in a vacuum, I do feel like, Gabe, and still having that stake in your heart, because you're right there on the doorstep against a team that I still feel was beatable in Seattle. And the game was really won and lost in the trenches. They just completely dominated us from that standpoint. Drake had no time. his decision making was awful. I mean, he was bad. He was just flat out bad yesterday. He didn't hit throws that he should usually hit. He had costly turnovers. I mean, I even thought that they were still in the game when they were driving with 9 minutes left in the fourth, and then he just threw the back-breaking interception, and that was that. But it was just, a team that had stopped the run all year has Kenneth Walker go ahead and put up 150 all-purpose yards. JSN was hurt for half the game as well. So Gonzalez was great. The defense played well enough for you to be able to win that kind of game. And I don't know. It was just offensively, it didn't make any sense. He didn't get the ball out quick enough. And I think that's the biggest thing. There was no excuses yesterday in terms of any sort of weather, any sort of, exterior sort of factors that played into whether or not they were going to win this game. The thing that I think a lot of people question is was that shoulder right, and was it really ready to go? And he was saying he was feeling great, but just based on the way that he played, it didn't feel like he was there. And I gotta give credit to Dondero in the post game yesterday on 98.5. Just didn't feel like Drake had like the swag and sort of the look in his eyes, if you will, for lack of a better way of putting it, to take this team. He felt discouraged. Coaching wise, I thought they got absolutely outclassed, to be honest. I thought Vrabel was pathetic in not challenging the first quarter catch by Cooper Kupp. That was a clear bobble going out of bounds. That led to the first field goal. And, if you get off the field there, does momentum shift a little bit? And McDaniels just had probably his worst game that I've ever seen. I just don't understand how you had your plan. Seattle was getting after you the way that they were, and you couldn't attack them with, these short 3 to 5 yard out routes and letting your players make fucking plays. That was the thing. It was just like, get the ball out of his hands into somebody else's hands.
I think that the Super Bowl, though, is a different game. And I think that the refs, and they showed it, they let the defense play and get super handsy because they don't want to call those ticky-tack fouls. And I think up until the fourth quarter, it was a penalty-free game. So I think that Seattle knew that going in, that the defense gets the advantage and that our offensive players are not elite. They're truly not. Like, our wide receivers are good, but you don't have the Puka Nacua or the Devonta Adams, that can make those plays against Seattle. So I think they knew that going in, that the Super Bowl is a different game. You can be handsy. You can kind of get away with things that you probably can't get away with in a regular playoff game. And they took it to their advantage, and you got to give them credit. You really do. They, like you said, Plotty, they got out-coached, and I think that their players took that coaching and they really shoved it down our throat. I do think the Patriots have to get a tight end, because our tight end play was god-awful I can't even remember when Hunter Henry had a great game, and I do think that they have to go out and get a star wide receiver. I think that there is something missing in the offense to help Drake May right now. I think they do have to upgrade there.
Absolutely. I think also one thing that we haven't talked about yet is Ramondre Stevenson. I think we would all agree that he was one of the MVPs in the playoffs for this offense. And, Josh McDaniels and the offense went to him early, but then it was like you saw Trevion Henderson in there for a majority of that game. I wonder if there was something up with Ramondre, or I don't really know, but it seemed like they were moving the ball decently that first drive with him, and also to have him in as a blocker with all the Seattle's defensive pressure, I thought, would have been huge to have him in the game more. And it seemed like they just kind of shied away from the run game so quickly, and it kind of cost them a bit.
Absolutely.
I think we're all
Cost them a Super Bowl. It cost them a lot.
I think we're all giving a lot of credit to the defense, and I think the defense on a whole this year was really, really good. But I do want to call out something on the defense that has been a huge concern, and something that I feel like really shined through yesterday as well, is the lack of a pass rush. Yeah, they were close to getting to Darnold a bunch of times, but that was all from up the middle. That was from Barmore and Milton Williams. Harold Landry, didn't really hear those guys whatsoever. And one thing that I did think was interesting earlier this week is Diana Rossini of The Athletic reported that Max Crosby wants out of Vegas, and he wants to play for Coach Vrabel. So is that a potential move that ends up happening in the offseason? The Patriots have, I think, three fourth rounders. But they can use one or two of those as collateral in a move to get someone like a Max Crosby to come in and really impact that defense, because the middle of the defense is great. It's the edges that I think have really kind of screwed this defense over from what they could have been capable of. And, maybe you get to Darnold a couple times last night. He has to think a little bit more when he's throwing that ball. He did throw that ball into some tight windows too. So a little bit of an edge rush really could have made a huge difference, at least from a defensive side of things too.
I just think that the Patriots were almost counting on Darnold to make that mistake and to get a turnover and either score points off that turnover. And they were close, don't get me
They were
wrong,
close.
but you can't go into a game hoping that your defense is going to be the one to put up points somehow or to give you that position. You have to offensively have something going and cooking. And if you don't, you have to be able to make the adjustments. That was just the part that still blew my mind. It's just there seemed to be no adjustments to what Seattle was doing throughout it. I do think that the good part is what we just said is know that this team has the talent and the makeup to get to this point. They need some more firepower on both sides of the ball to ultimately get them over the top. And let's not forget that in a year where the AFC was down, and as Eric alluded to, the road to the Super Bowl was probably one of the easier ones that you'll have, that they're going to need to restock and retool here to get back to this sort of place. But I will say this, you have the coach, you have the quarterback, you have Drake May on his rookie contract for another 3 years. And if there's a time to go for it, it's now, and to give some of these other things. I want to put a few other things out on the table, fellas, just in terms of the Super Bowl the week before, and we can pick away at this as well. Some of the extracurriculars with the Super Bowl, if you will, anything from the week before leading up to the game that anybody wants to talk about, and some of the chatter, the halftime show we can put on the table, commercials we can put on the table, some of the usual Super Bowl stuff that goes along with the game, but all of that's sort of available for pickings here.
I got one. I don't know if you guys talked about this last week when I was off, but Tom Brady not having a dog in the fight, like pulling this whole crap about how he's not rooting for the Patriots. Like, I don't like that, man. I hate it.
He got peer pressured into
but like that's
picking
so
a side.
stupid. Like that's to me, that's not. I don't know. I don't like it. I think like Kyle Van Noy, the guy literally still plays for Baltimore, and he's actually rooting for the Patriots. Like that's crazy. Like be more like that, Tom. Be like that guy. That's just something I got to get off my chest.
Corporate Tom Brady.
And then to see Gronkowski in a Tampa Bay Bucks jersey in one of the commercials, that was like an ultimate
After he
kick to the
retired at
nuts.
Pat.
Like, we're already getting our asses kicked, and then you see that, you're like, oh.
Go ahead, kick me in the nuts.
I was wearing a Gronk jersey during the game, and when that happened, I was like, done, over, it's off. I can't do this.
One positive thought. I got one kind of like I guess makes me an old thought, but like one thing that really kind of grinds my gears a little bit, and could have saved this for Yao, is why are all these commercials online before the Super Bowl? Part of the whole thing is that you want to grab everyone's attention when they're watching on the game. I thought it was so stupid that I'd already seen half of these commercials the week before. So that's something that I thought was just like, I hate that. Like, save it for the big game. The other thing that I thought was cool, and I think this is a positive, obviously a lot of negative talk around the Hall of Fame and the Patriots over the last couple weeks, rightfully so. But I want to give a huge shout out to Adam Vinatieri, the greatest kicker in NFL history, the most clutch kicker in NFL history, finally getting his due and getting into the Hall of Fame. I don't want to assume he's going to go in as a Patriot. He might go in as a Colt, but I'm assuming it will be a Patriot, or he'll be one of those split decisions. But regardless, he will always be a Patriot in my eyes, and just super proud of him for getting in there. And honestly, should have happened a while ago, but glad he's in.
Yeah, we talked extensively last week about Belichick and Kraft and that whole situation, which is just an abomination. Oh yeah, as well was Rodney Harrison absolutely tearing Tony Dungy a new asshole, and pretty much saying to his face that they got it wrong. That was great to see. Drake May loses out on the MVP by just the thinnest of chin hairs. Stafford had himself a year And if you look at the playoffs, Drake certainly didn't deserve to be awarded the MVP. Let's wrap up our Super Bowl talk here, fellas, and anything else, any final items that anybody wants to tackle here before we keep the bus moving.
I think we have to talk about the halftime show. I thought it was good. I don't really know
Coming
Spanish.
from Puerto Rico himself, he was just there.
Laquio Beach, hell yeah! I was just there. We happened to book this in like August, and like we didn't know Bad Bunny was going to be performing. But yeah, it was beautiful down there. Highly recommend going in February. It's a great time to go down to the islands. But the halftime show was good. Brought energy. I love his music. If you don't know the language, you don't need to know it. You just need to know how to move, and you need to know good beats. So yeah, I thought it was good. And I also thought the trees, I don't know if you guys saw the video of like the trees were actual people. I thought that shit was hilarious. I don't know why it got to me. It was awesome.
I enjoyed the halftime show. I just pictured my mom going, "What's he saying?
Yeah,
What's he saying?"
Not for the old.
No, not for the boomers.
No, had no idea what he was what was being said, but no, a good energy. Definitely had you moving and grooving a little bit. And the other part too was at that point of the game. I know you didn't feel good about anything, but I kept saying, I'm like, we're only down 9 fucking points here. Like we're in this thing. Like, and they're getting the ball. They got to do something here. And so I was hoping that a little Bad Bunny was going to lead to something, but it led to a rabbit hole of shit. It was bad.
Good analogy on the Bad Bunny and the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So, yeah, a disappointing end to the Patriots season. But as mentioned off the top, if you had said that there would be a Super Bowl run for this team in the cards at the beginning, I think we all would have looked at you and said, you're fucking crazy. Work to be done here in the offseason. We will definitely have some of our favorite guests joining us when it comes back time to, look at the draft and how that's all going to shake out in free agency. I will say it's been really nice to cover the team and do the show talking about playoff games and not who the coach is going to be and what do they have to do in the offseason. There's work to be done, and we'll get to that. But it was an exciting year, fellas, and it certainly helped the pod. And it was great. I got to jump off because I have some family here. I have one take before I leave. And that is Jason Tatum will be back in March. Thank you very much, Kraz.
Agreed.
I'm going to hand it to you to take the ship home tonight, fellas. Great to see you. And we'll be in touch soon. Love you guys.
Near, far, wherever you are, Plotty. We'll see you later.
Drop. Right in Milford, baby. All right. Have a good rest of the show, fellas. Love you.
Later, brother.
Later.
All right. As Plotty said, we're switching over to the parquet now. So looks like someone's got an extensive outline. Who wants to start off on the big trade of, what is the trade deadline, which was a crazy active trade deadline for the NBA, was Vujacic, I hope I'm saying that correctly, coming over to the Boston Celtics from the Chicago Bulls.
Vujacic.
I'm so sorry, I'm not fluent in Eastern European language.
Hey, some Ashkenazis here could tell you should be.
Hey, he's more than welcome to the Celtics. Vucevic or Vujovic, whatever your name is.
However you want to pronounce it.
So I just, trailing back maybe 3 episodes, I said that there was no way that this trade was going to happen, that there was rumors about it going on. I was wrong. Apparently that rumor that I heard was Anthony Simmons and a first-round pick. And that was at the beginning of the year. And we had said, no, I guess we traded straight up for an Anthony Simons this time around. So
there were second round picks involved too, but like it wasn't like it wasn't a huge
it's not
deal.
a first
But I
round
will say Brad Stevens really does value those second round picks though. So they're not like something they just throw in. Like a lot of our roster right now are second round players.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was the one thing that we needed. It was a big man that could create his own offense to help Tatum and Brown, play their wing play and guard play, and that's exactly what we got. So Big E, you're the green man. I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, you covered the trade where we sent the microwave Anthony Simons to the Chicago Bulls for Nikola Vucevic. Interesting trade. I think at the end of the day, it was a weird deadline where the Celtics got marginally better, but they also were able to cut the payroll as well. So it's not
Crazy.
exactly something that I think we all envisioned was going to happen. I
Trader
think
Danny to Trader Brad.
Well, I think we all envisioned coming into this year that Simons was definitely going to be on the block. Just when you looked at the roster construction, he had an expiring deal. His total contract value was like 28.7 million. So just enough to move him to get a smaller contract back to get under the tax. But like, you got to give your you got to take your hat off for Brad Stevens, Mike Zarin, that entire front office. They
Hell yeah.
literally traded everyone besides Simons was not a rotational player. And it doesn't matter what they got back or didn't get back for those players. It was all about just moving them off the books. And what they're going to do now is they're literally just going to stay in this place where they are right now, keep the spend right where it is. And they're going to do the same exact thing going into next season as well. Hopefully someone like Vucevic really enjoys his time here. It sounds like after 2 games, he is having a good experience, and there's a good opportunity that we can probably extend him, take a little bit of a team-friendly deal. He's a guy who has never been on a contending team in his career. He has barely sniffed the playoffs. So if he's able to go on a run with this team, sees what they're capable of doing, especially adding Tatum back whenever he does come back at some point, hopefully this year, I think that that's a great move for the team. Now, go ahead.
So Brad Stevens needs to be GM of the year. Like there's no question in my mind that he needs to win this, because not only did he cut $300 million of payroll from last year to this year, we're still contending for a title, getting Jason Tatum back.
Free, baby.
And he essentially just traded Drew Holiday for Nikola Vucevic when you really think about it.
And
Because that was,
in the words of Brad Stevens, facts.
it's just unbelievable, like what he's been able to do at the helm. He really is a master at what he does, and I don't think I don't know. I think we don't take it for granted, but I think like we don't really see how, like, the fact that I was watching Friday night and they said Bruce said he traded, I think he cut over $300 million. Like that's insane. So I think he needs to win the GM of the year, and I think Joe Mazzulla needs to win Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
They got to sweep. I think they should sweep it. I really do. As crazy as that sounds, like this year that they're putting up right now is just crazy. They have the best record, I think, since November 7th, I think I've heard too. So just absolute surprise of a year, and championship run is on, boys. Really is.
Listen, I think at the end of the day, between what you guys are saying, between Brad and Joe, I think I would rather have Joe win Coach of the Year, because I think this is an extremely tough year, that with the roster construction, with Tatum being out, to have this team be as competitive and have every single player hit as much as they have, a lot of that is due to the coaching staff, not just Joe, but Sam Cassell, the trainers. Even I would even give a lot of credit to the main staff as well. You look at someone like a Jordan Walsh, even a Ron Harper Jr., who he's getting a cup of coffee with the team right now based on everything else that's happening. The dude, I think, had like 9 and 11 in his first game as a start against Miami Heat. So overall, like I just cannot speak
Shooting
highly
lights
enough
out
about
from three.
everyone in the roster, top to bottom, whether that is the front office, the coaching, the players themselves. I really did not think that this year was going to be as fruitful as it is. And there's still a lot that could still potentially happen between now and the end of the season as far as buyouts, because we do have some open roster spots right now. And I think the big thing that we all know is looming is one, Mr. Jason Tatum coming back at some point too.
Yeah,
Let's talk
definitely.
about
He's definitely
the
coming
big
back.
elephant in the room over here, Mr. Jason Tatum. And the big news today, I mean, I think you guys all heard it, was that he's going to be participating in what is it? G League practice? Yeah, G League practice. Oh,
Practice.
Step in the right
practice.
direction. To
Thank
step in
you.
the right direction, literally. For him,
So my whole thing and my whole take on what I wrote down is, if you get him involved into games, you give him 5 to 10 minutes, that first game, just to get his legs literally underneath him. You don't expect him to score anything. You don't expect him to pass the ball. You don't expect him to dribble the ball or get by any defenders. You just expect him to get out there on the floor and move his feet. From there, you kind of gradually increase his minutes and what he's doing out there on the floor, to the point where he's playing 30 minutes. and then you send him up to Boston. You kind of put him on a minute restriction up here because it is a tad more. Obviously, it's a tad more intense from the G League to the NBA, and then kind of work him out. But I mean, it's remarkable recovery. The training staff get a ton of credit. Obviously, a ton of credit to Jason Tatum for getting up and doing probably getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to rehab and do what he needs to do. So shout out to him for doing what he needs to do and everyone being on all cylinders, because it does look like the guy's coming back, and he's coming back really soon.
And I can see the Celtics struggling a little bit when he does make his way back.
They will.
It's
They're
going to
have
be
to gel.
it's going to be a big adjustment, especially for Jaylen Brown. I mean, he's that guy right now, and how do they, I mean, they've been doing it for years now, but it's a little different now where he's coming in towards the end of the season, and how do you make that work? I mean, obviously they're both stud players, so I think
I'm gonna play devil's
fine.
advocate. I think it's
I-
gonna
me
be.
too.
I think it's gonna be a lot easier than everyone's saying. I think Tatum has that basketball IQ. He knows how to play the game. He's a smart player.
He does.
I think that this team is they know they play off each other. I think they're
He
gonna be
does.
totally fine. I really
But
do.
I think it's going to
I'm gonna
take them
split-
a few games.
I'm going to split the difference here. I think what you do to ease Tatum in is, sure, you can put him in the starting five, but I think what you do is you play him bench minutes. And when you play him off of the bench, you make sure that he's got someone like a Peyton Pritchard out there with him, a Sam Hauser, some guys that he's familiar playing with. And listen, what I would do is, you're not going to put everyone out on the floor that he's played with previously. So it's not going to be perfect. But if you can have at least two other guys on the floor that he feels comfortable with, that he has chemistry with, whether that's Jaylen Brown, whether it's those other guys, I think that's a recipe for success. Start getting him mixed in with some of these other guys that he hasn't had the time to play with. But I think if you just put him out there and you put him out there with, all these other guys that are new, like Vooch, who's, literally been here for 2 games, and Garza, and maybe some of these other guys, I don't know if that's necessarily the wisest move to start off with. So that would be my recipe for success, is just kind of ease him in. And then after 3, 4, 5 games, you're going to have a much better feel for where he is, especially with some of these newer guys that he's not played with.
My only thing is though is that these players that we have are such high IQ players. Like Vucevic is such a great passer and such a great rebounder. Like I have no issues with any of them gelling together. I think that the style of game that the Celtics play, and they love the 3 ball, and I think Jason's gonna have to incorporate that significantly into his game, especially early on, because we'll see how good his explosiveness is. I think that's going to cater to him, and I think that they're going to be totally fine. I really do. I'm looking for, like you said, the ease back in, but I don't think it's going to take much time at all. I really don't.
I think, and I messed up. I said Peyton Pritchard. Really, who he should be on the floor with the most is Derek White. It's like
sure.
the two of them have just such an uncanny ability. And I think for Jason and his ability to feel comfortable, playing as much with Derek is going to be the easiest way to, I think, get him back to where he was, at least as close as possible. So I wanted to just add that last piece in there, because I think he's even said in the past that Derek is his favorite teammate, just because I think the way that their play styles play together, they really are so complementary.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then also getting him gelled in with Nikola Vucevic, or whatever you're gonna call him, that's also needs to happen. And then once you go from there, the playoffs start, and it's anyone's game. It's everyone's 0-0. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is we got a best of 5 or 7 game series, and let's go at it. So I mean, any other takes on the Celtics
some quick,
before we bring out the?
Yeah, quick take on the Celtics. We have I think like 1 game left this week before we go into the All-Star break. So All-Star game is next weekend. Officially, I know we're technically in the second half of the season, but the All-Star break to me is always the big marker of like, hey, we're getting close to the playoffs, start to take all the teams that are where they are in the standings a little bit more seriously. And they have a pretty big road trip coming on up after this, the dreaded February trip out west that they always have every year. Back when I was a kid in middle school and high school, I would always remember this as always coinciding with the February break. So for kids, enjoy it. You can stay up late and don't have to worry about school the next morning. But yeah, just in general, I think we got a lot to look forward to. And the trade deadline in general was just wild. So it was a fun time to be an NBA fan. And I'm just excited where this team is going to go throughout the rest of the season and where they can ultimately take us.
Agreed. Gabe, let's pull up the parquet. Let's put down the ice.
Switching it over.
Yeah, we're switching it over.
All right. Not a ton of Bruins talk tonight. Last time we talked, they hadn't gone against the Florida Panthers yet. The Bruins lost that game 5-4 in a shootout. Of course, Brad Marchand is the guy who scores to win it. I wouldn't have it any other way. But I think McAvoy took kind of a dirty hit to the head there in that game. It looks like he's so dirty. It looks like he's okay. He's over in Milan right now.
Dude didn't get disciplined either, right, Gabe? No disciplinary action coming from
they didn't
the
even.
league?
I don't even think they looked at it.
Insane.
Yeah. I don't know. That was a bit wild to me. Kind of wish I don't know, that was just a clear launch and elbow to the head. But McAvoy is, he's with the U.S. team, so it looks like he escaped any serious injury, but he did miss the rest of that game, I believe. But really, it's all about Olympic hockey now. The games start on Wednesday. USA plays on Thursday against Latvia, so that's something to keep an eye on. It's always exciting, and hopefully we'll get another USA Canada matchup.
Wonder who Porzingis is rooting for.
Latvia.
Of course he is.
He might be on the ice for them. Who the hell knows? Thinks he's Chara.
If he could stay on the ice.
Achilles might pop.
Yeah, seriously. That no way he's last. He's like a baby giraffe on the ice. Yeah, but that's really all for now. I mean, the Bruins, they come back obviously after the Olympics are over. I think it's towards the end of February at this point.
I think it's like the 26th or the 28th.
We get a little break.
Right at the end of the month, right?
Can I bring up a little subject here? You talked about Brad Marchand. Do we think he's starting to develop a little hatred towards the Boston Bruins? I feel like he is. Like, I feel like he doesn't. I don't know. I feel like there could be some bad blood with him in the front office or something going on there that happened where I think that he's really taking it personally. I think he's really trying to shove it down the Bruins' throat every time he plays them. I don't know if it's just like.
I think if there was bad blood between him and the front office, they wouldn't have dealt him to a contender last year. So they did everything they could to at least put him in a good position going forwards. So if I'm him, I'm actually thankful for the Bruins front office because at the end of the day, they put me in a position to win a cup.
I think both can be true, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's now been a rat for a full year, almost a year and a half now, and I'm sure he's heard it all in their locker room, and they don't like the Bruins very much over there, and I'm sure there's maybe some people over here that he has a gripe with, but he's so good in overtime and shootouts. It's like he probably loves shoving it to someone's face in the organization.
Let's be honest. He's been a rat for longer than just 1 year. He's just been a rat to us for about a year's time. So
he was our rat, though.
He was our rat, and he's a great reminder because there are these players in every single sport that you hate them when they're on another team, and you would love them if they played for you. He is like the quintessential, like best example I can think of, at least in hockey, where like he's going to be that annoying player if you're playing against him, but God damn it, do you want him to suit up for you if you ever get the opportunity for it? And I'm glad we got the opportunity to have him suit up for us for a long period of time.
Might be a dying breed, too. I don't know how many more real rats there are in the NHL left. I know that Domi guy is, but...
Yeah, Max
Domi.
Yeah.
Max, yeah. That's about it, but I don't know. Might be a dying breed, the little rat on the ice.
Well, we all loved Marchand. I know that. I mean, aside for me, as I told you guys, I'm looking forward to the men's hockey and the Olympics. It's for me, I feel like it's a different breed. You get the best of the best, which I mean, I do get. You do get that in the NHL as well. It's just kind of spread out a little bit differently because of business contracts and things like that. But when it's your country and there's no worry about contracts or anything like that, and you're playing for pride and patriotism. It's a different sense, I think. So for me, I at least enjoy that part myself. So
I feel like
I'm
it's
looking
weird.
forward.
I feel like it's weird because like I'm not as hyped for the Olympics as I think I would have been if Four Nations didn't happen last year. And I wanna ask you guys, are you guys just as excited for the Olympics? Or are you feeling like I kind of feel like we got a big taste of it last year. And I think
It's
that's one of the things
different.
that makes it of course it's different because it's more than just Four
Yeah,
Nations.
it's different.
But I think in retrospect, I wish that the Four Nations was happening on the every other off year, like the 2 year in between, instead of having it follow just like it did last year. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I thought like the rivalry we had with Canada and all the games we played with them, it could not have gone better. And maybe my tune will change when I actually start
It
seeing the
will.
games, and I hope it does.
I
But
think I think
I think it
I'm
will as
just,
well.
I'm just not as hyped as I thought I would be.
wait till you start seeing the USA on the ice and the hitting and the real great hockey. It's like a different level of hockey. It
Four
really is.
Nations
So
versus
it's
what,
you know
32?
the NHL is hockey, but this is like elite hockey. It's just so different. So I think it's
No,
great.
And the
I
players
know.
have
It's all
such
the NHL
pride.
guys and,
Yeah.
others, combined and onto one, but there's, like I said, there's no contract structure. There's no bureaucratic red tape that you need to worry about or collective bargaining agreement.
No.
That's what they have in
But
the
the
MLB.
one thing you do have to worry about, Sam, and especially if you're a Bruins fan and an NHL fan for that, is the health of the players coming back. So Pavel Zacha, quick Bruins note, is not playing for Team Czechia. So that actually hurts Team Czechia, but really helps the Bruins. So I kind of am okay with that. But you just have to really, watch your players and make sure that Pasta and McAvoy come back in one piece and
Wonder how
not
Pasta
hurt.
feels about that because that's his teammate, but that's also his countryman. So I wonder. Yeah, I'm sure he's cool with it. I'm sure there's good reason behind it. But if you're trying to place, and for a medal, you want your best out there. So obviously, I'm sure he's got some mixed feelings.
Agreed. Gabe, any
One
other
other
takes on the
note,
Bruins?
just one other note, college hockey right now, the Beanpot
Yeah.
Finals going on. BC is playing BU, and
What's new?
it's a great tournament. There's a ton of Bruins prospects on both teams, so if you're interested in seeing the future of the potential future of the Bruins, it's on ice tonight. And if it wasn't the day after the Super Bowl, I might be there. A
Got a
little
1-1 game.
yeah, it's 1-1 right now.
Yeah.
Go be
No,
you.
it should be a good game. A lot of pride in that Beanpot tournament.
A lot of former Bruins playing on the ice too for BC, so definitely something to
Mm.
watch out for.
Yeah.
Our future Bruins.
So yeah, switching
Yeah,
it up
future.
to I guess my time. We'll take it from the ice and kind of move it towards summer and where J-Matt was, down in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, in the nice weather. We're
Florida.
getting underway, man. We're getting underway. The truck's are already down. Camp's underway. Crochet, Chapman's there. Roman Anthony just arrived today. There was another big deal went down for the Red Sox. I'll break it down. We sent out David Hamilton, Kyle Wilson, and I believe one other prospect for third baseman Corbin Durbin, and then a few other prospects as well. The main kind of chunk of the pie coming back is third baseman Corbin Burns, who, on paper doesn't really look like the greatest guy, but when it comes to what he brings to the table, it's actually a lot better than what it looks like. I mean, his slashing lines really aren't going to blow you away, but he plays stellar third base. He's a really patient hitter, and he just kind of adds to that plethora of depth that actually I should say plethora of young depth that the Celtics have moving. I mean, not the Celtics, I'm sorry, that the Red Sox have moving forward.
The Celtics got plenty of young depth though too. So you're
they
good. You're
both-
good.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, your veterans on this team right now are Wilson Contreras, Garrett Crochet, who's like in his late 20s, I believe, and then Wilson Contreras. So Trevor Story. I mean, I know it doesn't really look good on paper to you guys as far as like what this roster's constructed. You'd like to see a big market name there. I'd like to see a big market name there too as well, but having a rotation 1 through 5 like they do is pretty scary. I honestly never really seen a rotation like that in baseball before, so I'm really curious to see how that actually looks moving forward and seeing if that actually wins us many games and relying on that kind of small ball attitude that it looks like that they're going to have moving forward versus trying to hit the ball over the wall. I'm kind of for it. I mean, a lot of how playoff games are won. I mean, obviously you have those big home run moments and they come. I mean, Johnny Gomes, not a big home run hitter, went off. Steve Pierce, same thing, wasn't a big home run hitter. He went off too as well. So yeah, I'd like to see a huge bat in there, but I'm not really 100% concerned with what we have going out there, especially with Roman Anthony coming back with a healthy oblique injury and hopefully Tristan Casas also coming back. That can also add a little bit of pop into the lineup.
So you guys know that I have not been the biggest fan of this offseason so thus far, but I actually want you guys to all be sitting down. I actually texted Sam earlier today because I actually really like this trade for Corbin Durbin, to be honest. I think you got a player who was a rookie last year, really young. While his bat is not what we would like it to be, he's still young and can continue to develop that. But defensively, he is as solid as you're going to find at third base or second base, whether they decide to play him there. He's not gonna cause errors, so that's a positive. And it provides a lot of different depth pieces for what you can use in the infield between Mayer with Durbin and then also with Campbell as well. You kind of have an embarrassment of riches where I think when we go back and we look at last year in the outfield, once Robin Anthony got injured, they were really kind of depleted from an outfield perspective. And now I know the outfield is a little bit flush as well, but to get through a full season, you're going to need all these players in order to get there. And yes, we do still need a bat. I'm firmly on that fence. But instead of that maybe being a move that happens in the offseason, that could be something that could happen by the trade deadline. So what I'm looking for this team to go fully, much further than they went this past year is to get a bat at some point, whether that's before the season starts or if that's at the trade deadline, but just making sure that they're able to add a not just, it doesn't have to be a marquee bat, but someone that can put some pop and generate some offense beyond just, small ball, because we just need someone who can get some doubles, honestly. I don't even care about home runs at this point. Just put the ball in play, deep in play, so guys can get extra bases, and that I think will be enough to help this team go further.
Gabe, Josh.
Pass the baton, baby. I
Yeah,
also
I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I like the trade as well. I think where the Sox really needed help was in the infield, and this trade clearly does that. It gives them a lot of help, and it gives them flexibility, like you said, Eric, to kind of move pieces around and kind of play with that a little bit. They did sign the falafel man, Isaiah Kenya Falafa. He's also a great infield presence. Not a great bat, but so I think this offseason, it's been slow going and it hasn't necessarily been, the offseason that we were hoping for and reeling in big names. But I think they've done a good job shoring up some areas that were really a weakness last year. And I think that is going to really push this team along. And hopefully, they surprise us again. That'd be nice.
Yeah, Gabe, I think you hit the nail right on the head there by saying, that they wasn't the most splashiest offseason, but they addressed the issues that needed to be addressed, and that's exactly what they did. What it comes down to, and if their plan actually comes to fruition, we haven't had a lot of success with this office and their plans coming to fruition. So it's completely okay to be, gullible about, them being a good team. I completely get it. We want to see what's going to happen at the end of 162 games, and I firmly believe that this is a team that will be in the postseason, and
Yes,
when it comes down to it, we'll be winning. We'll be better at winning those 1 or 2 run games than other teams will be. And I think that does give them an advantage in the postseason moving forward. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
I'm making a promise and a commitment here today as well. I will not be judging the Red Sox until Memorial Day, because we know historically the weather is cold in April. We need the weather to warm up a little bit. Let's get a 60 game sample size here before we, get super excited or we get too down, because I think one of the two is bound to happen here, and I think we just need to be a little even keeled until we can start to get into the beginning of summer.
The last thing
Agreed.
I want to say about the Sox too is I think that the reason why they haven't signed any marquee names and big bats, to your point, Eric, is I think they are really, really hoping and thinking that Roman Anthony is going to hit 30 home runs and have 100 RBI and be that maybe even more than 30 home runs. So I think they're thinking that he's going to be that new big bat that they're going to plan on inserting in the lineup day
Well,
to
it
day out.
pains me to say too. Sam said this to me earlier today via text. There is one Mr. Pluto that, has mashed 30 plus home runs before that could be coming back and could also make some impact there from that. Personally, I don't know if I hope that happens or doesn't hope that happens,
Yeah.
but it just literally could. So I think it's
You
something
throw
we all
him and
gotta be
Roman
aware of.
in, boom, there's your pop.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah, so that could be it. I still think getting another one wouldn't suck, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, enough bats never hurt. But we'll see what happens, especially with Pluto. You bring up a great point. I would like to see what we get from him after he comes back from a patella injury. He's going to have a full off season of, actually working up that knee and getting it nice and healed and strengthened and getting his coordination and doing his yoga and his grounding techniques and his perianal sunbathing. So we'll be seeing some Tristan Casas, Nesson Instagram stories very, very soon of him doing some weird stuff. But let's turn over to the Olympics. I know, comes up every 4 years. This is a big one for me. I've always been a huge fan of the Olympics, whether it be track, skiing, snowboarding. Unfortunately, we're not in the medal hunt right now, but believe me, we're, as Shane Gillis says, we're number one, and we're number one for a reason. Boys, any takeaways that you've seen so far? I mean, I myself watched the opening ceremony. I thought it was, I didn't really think too much of it. I think they try and put a lot of effort and time into it, more so than anything. It's more of an artistic thing than it is what it was 10, 15 years ago.
Hey, listen, like at the end of the day, like if you're gonna put the Olympics on like the day before the Super Bowl and my team's in the Super Bowl, you can't expect me to really spend any time watching the Olympics. So I'm hoping that I will be diving into that here in the next week or the next week and two while they really start getting into it. But yeah, I really did not spend a lot of time watching anything. I watched the opening ceremonies for a little period of time, but I have not spent a lot of time on the Olympics yet.
If you get a chance to watch, I think it's called like the downhill super G skiing. It's fucking crazy. You go,
That just sounds cool. Downhill super G skiing. Just sounds cool.
It's insane.
Because
they go down
like 85 miles an hour downhill.
Yeah, literally.
skis.
It's 90 miles an hour. They're going down like a 2-mile course. It's absolutely insane.
I want to keep my knees. They're good. They're like literally flying through the air for like 45 feet.
They're like G forces on their knees is like, I don't even know how they're walking after. But yeah, that I think I'm pro winter. I think winter is a little bit cooler than summer. My personal opinion. Stuff that I can't do. Like I can run. I can do that. I can't ski. I can't snowboard. Watching these people do these at like such high speeds, and it's just very, they're very talented. Yeah.
And
all the athletes.
He was one. I mean, going down that course at 70 some odd miles an hour and on a torn ACL with a rod and pins and another leg like that. It was, man, the ovaries on her. I'll tell you what, man, she's got some big ovaries to be able to do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, that could be a career ender right there.
Yeah,
for her.
she's old too,
Probably,
so.
probably was.
She's in her 40s.
She put out something on what's it called, on her own Instagram, stating that she was going to be recovering from a really complex fibula break, and even before when they were kind of interviewing her, she was kind of alluding to the fact that it might be her last Olympics anyways, and she kind of wanted to go out on that note of her on a bad knee. It's just so unfortunate that a like literally 5-inch gap.
A little negligent, if you ask me personally.
The difference.
But what I'm not an athlete. But if you get to watch the biathlon too, the cross country biathlon where they cross country and then shoot, pretty badass. So yeah,
that's Francesca's favorite event.
I love that. I love it.
Wasn't that the decathlon?
What one of my coworkers today said that she the decathlon, is that what you're talking about?
Decathlon, yeah. Where they do like 10 different events.
With the biathlon, one of my coworkers today was saying that she was joking that she was going to go spend some time preparing that for the next 4 years. And she's from Maine. I said, your Maine is showing. So very, very much a rural sport for those that are not in the urban areas.
So let's drop down to the Olympic count currently. So the U.S. has 2 medals currently, Italy with 9, Norway with 6, and Japan with 7. Those are the top 3. But like I said, as Shane Gillis says, we're number one. We're going to come back from behind and we'll end up on top like normal. I don't know if there are any other things you guys want to go over as far as the Olympics go. If there's any
I think it's
event
time to
you
go
guys
on
want
to
to see?
Eric's favorite segment.
Yeah, I think it's time to transition, right? And we're gonna talk
We like the
about the things
things you don't like.
the things that we don't like, right? The things like the Super Bowl yesterday.
Kind
Yeah,
of
oh,
stinky.
smelly, bad, stinky. Like, get out of here, right? We don't want those types of Super Bowls. What instead we want Super Bowls like Super Bowl 36, the ones that get me out of my bed in the morning, the ones that get me excited. Like when we see Adam Vinatieri's football go through the uprights and we win the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah. See, we have to live back in the glory years right now because that's all we have. That's all we have right now.
No, I mean, first off, to this team for doing what they did and getting us to where they got to. Okay, yes, they put up an inept game for 3.5 quarters, but, they, like Plotty said at the beginning, if you said the Patriots were going to be in the Super Bowl this year, we would have said you were fucking crazy.
I would
So,
have said, go bet it. Go
yeah,
bet that.
right? Yeah, pretty much. But so, to that whole team and the culture and everything that they just kind of created down there. I mean,
Hell
it's
yeah.
it's huge for the future. I know we talked about it in the Pats segment, but big to their season in total. I think it needs to go with some recognition.
I think we had some of the oh yeahs, yeah ohs that were previously said, but does anybody want to kick off with the second item that's listed there? Because I think that's a huge one we got to touch on.
Jordan Hudson
Yeah,
and her Orchids of Asia spa shirt that she was wearing on purpose.
I got some
at a
thoughts.
highly
Like,
publicized UNC basketball game.
I don't know. She doesn't deserve my breath.
no,
Yeah,
I do think she does, and I'll tell you why. Because to me, this is the point of no return. And I think after everything that kind of happened, could there have been amending offenses at some point? Yeah, I do think. After this, absolutely not. And
I think there will be.
just
Gets to a point where you're like on your deathbed and
because you want to know what? If I'm the Crafts and I'm Robert, Bill had to be a party to this because you want to know what? Like, there's no way that Bill saw what she was wearing. It would have been like, cool, you wear whatever you want. Like, Bill knows what the message that was being sent behind there was. And I really think it was short-sighted and really, really, really fucking petty. So you want to know what, Jordan? Fuck you. You suck. Like, honestly, I think you have really been the nail in the coffin where this relationship will never be able to recover because of you. So congratulations for fucking that up.
And Eric, just when Belichick has a little, like positive swing in the media, not getting into the Hall of Fame, it goes.
I know, right? And everyone's backing him. Fucking Jordan goes,
just like drags him back down, and I mean, you got to blame.
He's doing it to himself, guys.
He's doing it to himself for sure.
He's the one to blame, straight up.
100%. That's what I'm saying. He knew what she was doing.
He could cut bait at any time, so it's on him.
He could, but we all know what he wants.
He likes being dominated, though.
we all
know what he wants. Then Nantucket Island girl. But anyways, I have a couple of oyas. One is for Avalar. She went with 2. I had my midterms this past week, so she went with 2 different passwords. One was Warriors, and one was We All We Need. That was pediatrics and maternity, respectively.
Wellness check, Kraz.
590 check. Boom, boom. See ya, boy. Take you later. So thank you, Professor Avalar. Actually, she was telling me that one of her friends is either a lawyer or a doctor, one of the team doctors for the Seahawks, and was actually on the sidelines for the game. So it was pretty cool. Like I was. No, she was showing me pictures. I was showing her pictures of Karen and all that stuff, which is my next and kind of how cool it is to have a teacher that's that involved in the Patriots is kind of cool. But yeah, my next talking about Karen, I think you really see what we talked about in the whole Patriots segment of Vrabel building something, and it starts from the top. Since the beginning, Vrabel has gone to Karen, our sister, for every question being the first question, and Drake May did the same exact thing. I think I heard Tom Curran or someone in the background start talking to Drake, and Drake was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna take Karen's question." And that, to me, it wasn't like, "Oh yeah, that's our lady." It was more of like, I was like, "Wow!" Like he didn't learn that. Well, he obviously learned that himself, but he saw that from Vrabel. I don't think Vrabel said to him, you need to go out there and you need to do this. I think that's just something that Drake May picked up off of Vrabel, and, kudos to him for being able to do that and being able to grow and kind of really, for at least me, cementing in my mind that this is a team that's there have been some haters on Reddit already that are kind of like alluding Joe Burrow to Drake May, and it's like, okay, yeah, maybe they both went to the Super Bowl in their second year, but you can't, they're not the same.
Okay, I'm totally okay if they want to make comps to Joe Burrow and vice versa. Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So if they're trying to
but he
say that
hasn't
as
been back since.
okay, so like that's not necessarily Joe Burrow's fault. I'll take being compared to one of the best quarterbacks in the game right now, hands down, any day of the week, regardless whether he's been back to the Super Bowl or not. Like he is top 5 quarterback in the league, I think, unquestionable.
Yeah, well, in Drake's mind, he wants to be top 1. So
Sure, I want him to be top 1 too, but I'll take Joe Burrow comparisons all day. So that's not a slight to me.
Look what Cincinnati did after Burrow got destroyed in the Super Bowl. They
yeah, I
went
mean,
all
I
offensive line.
don't see them going back anytime soon. Their program is kind of changed. I mean, so I'm just saying the comparisons to the two of them it's not fair because we didn't draft Drake May's best buddy from college that was an all-stud top 3 receiver in the league. So there are some differences. That's my only thing.
Unfortunately for us, Drake May didn't go to an SEC school where he had the talent around him that some of these other guys did. So we don't have the opportunity to draft his stud receiver because he never played with one in college.
Yeah, so fortunately he'll be a
Hey,
better
boys,
quarterback than Joe Burrow.
What do we got coming down the pike this week? Anything good? I know the Bruins are off. We got
the All-Star break.
You said Olympic hockey. What, Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, USA
like
plays
that.
on Thursday.
All-Star game next week.
Have.
Yeah, there's not much.
Yep.
It's going to be a slow week.
There's really not
who we
much
got for the
going on right now.
Bulls. Old friend Anthony Simons is coming to town.
Yeah, one game
Yeah,
and
old
then
friend
All-Star
Anthony
break.
Simons.
So we mostly focus on the All-Star break at this point. Let's go,
And then,
Jaylen Brown. Let's win that
and then,
MVP,
like you said,
buddy.
Eric, we're out west for Golden State, LA, Phoenix, Denver. So a tough 4-game stretch there.
Yeah, we'll cover that next week before we head out west and cover the All-Star game in the look ahead for next
sure.
week. So, but I think it's time to wrap it on up and park this
Park the
car
car.
and let you guys know that
car.
we hope everyone has a great rest of your week. We will be here to talk about all the happenings and goings on in our Boston hub universe with the sports when we get back next week. But near, far, wherever you are, we hope you're all doing well.
Good night.
Later.
Yo.